This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host Keith Angle on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey guys, Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. And hello, everybody. It's my weekly vlog. We've got the Hall of Fame voting coming up soon. And I want to talk a little bit about four guys specifically that are in their last year of eligibility for Hall of Fame voting and the controversy that surrounds them and their potential election, or even their potential election now, or even down the road by the Veterans Committee, let's say. We're talking about Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, and Curt Schilling. Now, these guys have been kept out for different reasons. All right, the voting's coming up. Let's see. The election results will be released on the 25th of January. Now, all the ballots have been collected already, so it's irrelevant what I think. Even if there was a small chance what I had to say here today was going to affect the results of this election, that's not going to happen. It's already taken place. But I want to give you my opinion on all four of these guys, and there's different situations in each case in my mind. Clemens and Bonds both, they got to have 75% of the vote to get in. Clemens and Bonds were both around 61% last year. This is their last chance to get in. Now, both of these players had Hall of Fame careers in my mind before steroids became an issue in their career. Now, we don't know exactly when they started taking them, but we have a pretty good idea based on the evidence that's been presented in different arenas. Now, I say they should get in, and you let them in, and you display them. You display on their plaque, warts and all. Great players, who tainted their careers by using steroids later on in their careers, or however you want to put it. Because these are great players who contributed to the game in ways Hall of Fame players do. And this is becoming a Hall of Good, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But I think you cannot keep a Barry Bonds or a Roger Clemens out of the Hall of Fame based on their overall numbers. And we also don't know who else was doing steroids at the time they were doing them, by the way. We don't know. And there's baseball writers who are not going to vote for anybody from those eras because they don't know who was using and who wasn't. Now, I think they should be in, warts and all. I also think Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson ought to be in a Hall of Fame. And you tell the story, Pete Rose banned for for betting on baseball. Shoeless Joe Jackson banned for throwing the 1919 World Series, which is debatable since Joe Jackson actually hit about 420 and hit a bunch of home runs and drove in a bunch of runs in that game, in that series. So watch or read. Actually, the movie's good, but read 8 Men Out, and you'll get a better feel for the whole Joe Jackson fiasco. He did take money, but he didn't throw the series. But regardless, they should still be. This is not full of great people, the Hall of Fame. Look at Ty Cobb. Is he a great guy? One of the worst racists and human beings that I've ever read anything about, Ty Cobb. But he's a great baseball player and belongs in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So I'm putting Clemens and Bonds in because of a couple of reasons that I mentioned. Number one, they had Hall of Fame careers in my mind before the steroid issue was prominent in their careers. Two, I don't know who else was using steroids at the time they were using them. Three, they're two of the best players in the history of Major League Baseball and need to be recognized as such in the museum that recognizes those players. Now, you can say they cheated the game, and as did Pete Rose, but there's other cheaters in the game. I mean, we let spitballers in, not cheaters. You know, spitballers are in. Guys who stole signs are in. You know, cheating is in the eye of the beholder, I guess, and the degree that the cheating affects the game is in the eye of the beholder. I don't think the Houston Astros cheating scandal was that big a deal, and it'll affect some of these guys later on in the Hall of Fame voting. You watch. But I say you put guys in who are great players, and you put on their plaques the good stuff and the bad stuff. That's what museums are for. Same, and again, I say the same thing about Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson. I can probably come up with a couple of others. So that's the Bonds case. Sosa, no. Sosa was not a great player. It was only steroids that made him a great player. And basically, once the steroids took place, he was a one-dimensional player anyway. He became a home run hitter, and that was about it. Early in his career, he stole bases and was a better outfielder than he was after he bulked all up. But I don't think Sosa's getting in anyway. He's never gotten more than 17% of the vote. So I don't think Sammy Sosa get any shot to get in today or later on with the Veterans Committee. And by the way, when it comes to Clemons and Bonds, I don't hold out hope for them getting in with the Veterans Committee because those guys are the Hall of Famers who want to keep these guys out. So I don't think, again, and maybe I'm being a little bit not consistent in my argument here because Sammy Sosa's numbers would warrant being in the Hall of Fame as he hit more than 600 home runs, and there's only a handful of guys in all of baseball history that did it. So, but Sammy Sosa, again, his stats are, for the majority, a creation of his steroid use. Not necessarily the case with Clemons and Bonds because they had Hall of Fame careers before they started using steroids, by all accounts. Curt Schilling got 71.7% of the vote last year. Curt Schilling is being blackballed for a different reason. He's being blackballed for his political views. And I don't think that should be either, but I will also say I don't think Curt Schilling is a Hall of Famer. Forget about what he says. Because look he's way over the top, man. I mean, I'm a conservative Republican, to be totally honest with you. I don't get into politics on my show. I do not think the way Curt Schilling thinks on most topics. I'm not a radical. He's a radical. But do I think that should keep him out of the Hall of Fame? No. Again, not a lot of there's a lot of different personalities in the Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb, bad man. Babe Ruth, not an ideal role model. Christy Mathewson was a drunk. Look there's a lot of people out there that are not perfect people that are in Hall of Fames, especially Baseball Hall of Fame. But I don't think Curt Schilling is a Hall of Famer. This is the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Good. Curt Schilling was a great postseason pitcher, but Curt Schilling didn't win 100 games. I'm sorry, 300 games. What did he win? See if I got the numbers here. I mean, his career earned run average was 3.35. Actually, let me look this up real quick. Bear with me 1 second, people. But, the Hall of Fame has become the Hall of Good, and we put guys who compile stats in, and I don't think they belong. Curt Schilling's career numbers. 216 wins. 597 winning percentage. 3.46 ERA. None of these scream Hall of Fame numbers to me. Now, he never won a Cy Young. He never won an MVP award. Now, he pitched some really big games in the postseason. I will give you that with the Red Sox and with the Diamondbacks. He made the All-Star team 6 times. But is Kurt Schilling meeting the the level to be a Hall of Famer? Not a Hall of Very Good. Kurt Schilling's a very good pitcher and a more than excellent postseason pitcher, which is what's going to carry his candidacy, right? So again, if you think Kurt Schilling's a Hall of Famer, you should not keep him out because of his political views and again, as over the top as he might be. But I don't think Kurt Schilling belongs because he's not a Hall of Famer. And for now and going forward, we should be voting for guys for the Hall of Fame based on their contribution to baseball, good and bad. Pete Rose doesn't have a plaque in the Hall of Fame, but Pete Rose is all over the Hall of Fame if you go there. Shoeless Joe Jackson is there. Give them their plaques, put the good and the bad on it. So again, to wrap this up, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens have got to be voted into the Hall of Fame this year. Sammy Sosa doesn't deserve election because he wasn't a good player without the drugs. Clemens and Bonds were. Kurt Schilling doesn't deserve election because he's just a good player, a very good player, but not at the top echelon of pitchers in my mind. Is he Sandy Koufax? No way. Is he Bob Gibson? No way. Is he Roger Clemens? No way. What are your thoughts? You're going to agree. I know some of you are going to agree with me. I know a lot of you people are going to disagree with my thoughts. Feel free to tell me that I'm off my rocker. Keith Engel, TGI Sports Talk. We'll see you on one of my many shows soon. Hello to you Roku people as well. We'll see you later. Keith Engel for TGI Sports Talk, weekly vlog right here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network.